Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I am Mad Capper and we are here with another video on Raid Shadow Legends. Today I want to talk about the Dragon 20 and Spider 20 grind. I'm going to combine these two in the same video because there are some similarities between the two grinds that I want to go over. I'm not going to go over the runs, how to compose them and all that. I do have a Spider 20 video featuring Miscreated Monster. If you want to take a look at that, go ahead. It's on my YouTube channel. Otherwise, you know, everyone's done one. What I want to talk about today is drop rates. Now, before I go any further, I want to give full credit where credit is due. This is not my idea. I am not the first to come up with, arguably, I'm sure everyone has come up with it, but the first one to do an actual video or stream with this information was Chosen from Chofly Gaming. I will link his Twitch and his channel in the description below. I'm also going to hold posting this video until his videos on both Dragon 20 and Spider 20 have been released and are on his site for at least 48 hours. I do not want to steal anyone else's idea. He is a much bigger fish than me anyway. He's also a clanmate and I respect him as one of the top content creators for Raid Shadow Legends. So I don't want to take anything that's his. This is his idea. This is his he did it on the stream and he's gonna post a video on it, and so I don't want to do anything before he has. Second piece, I'm going to talk about selling artifacts, and I want to give props to Kizzle. Kizzle had a video based on evaluating jewelry for sale. Although he is much later game than I still use the same kind of basics I learned from that video. I will also link that in the description down below. Go see that. It gives a full breakdown on how to decide what jewelry to sell and what jewelry to keep. It was instrumental in how I do it. And even though I will briefly go over it, is a much more descriptive video. So please check that out if you want to know, hey, how do I decide whether to keep or sell something? So without further ado, I'm going to talk about Spider 20 and Dragon 20. I want to talk briefly about my plans for this series, and this is why I am doing this. I'm not doing this just to show you here's what, you know, Chosen did in his video, but now it's me, haha. No, I have an actual long-term game plan for this, and it's something that I've wanted to do for a while, and in the new year I have set myself to actually do it. I want to go into each of the dungeons that we farm, and I want to get a baseline for 20, and I also want to farm some other stages and see, is it really better to farm the higher stages? Now, obviously stage 20 has the ability to not get 4-star, so it's going to be better. We all know this. But what if you aren't at the end game? What if you can only farm up to stage 19? But stage 19 has an 80% win rate, whereas you can drop down to 16, which is less energy with the same drop chance. It's going to cost you less, and you're going to run it at a higher success rate. Or maybe, even though it's a lower success rate, stage 19 is the better because it has greater chance at higher star power or higher artifact rarity, legendary, epic, or rare. The only way we're going to find this out is if I do these runs. So I'm going to, long term, over the next several months, I'm going to be running stage 19, stage 16 because it's the drop from 16 to 14 energy, and stage 13 because it's the first chance to get 4 to 6 star rating armor. Or artifacts, sorry. So I'm going to do that for Dragon. I'm going to do it for Spider. I also want to do similarly for the potion dungeons. I want to do stage 15 because that's the top one. I want to do stage 11 because that's the first drop in the energy cost. And I want to do stage 8 because that's the first time that you get all 3 drop chance. And I just want to run 100 of each and see, is there a trend? Now, it's too small a sample size to say definitively, but I want to see if there is indeed a trend on the frequency of drop between the 3, the lesser arcane, the greater arcane, and the superior potions. I want to see if there is a difference between the 3 at, say, stage 8 versus stage 11 versus stage 15. And I also want to find out in the quantity. So I'm going to figure out how many of this does it drop when it drops. How many of the superior does it drop on average? So it's going to take a while to get all that out. It's going to take several months, but I'm going to do a series on each of the dungeons. And if you want to see that, please just subscribe, share with your friends. I will get that through in the coming months. But the first step is to get my baseline level 20s done on the dungeons, which is arguably more important for me than the other areas. So I have done today Dragon and Spider. So let's take a look at the information I have for you for the Dragon 20. We're going to show you a, unfortunately, poorly designed spreadsheet of my information is poorly designed because it is larger than what I have been able to share on my screen. The way I have shared this document does not allow me to fix it, but I will link in the description down below. It is a Google Doc, so you'll be able to take a look at it for yourself, and hopefully if there's information on the edge that you can't see, you'll be able to look at it afterwards. But I will tell you, first, I'm going to talk about the things that were as expected. The artifact star rating and artifact rarity. And you will see similarities in Spider 20 as well. So the artifact star rating, 5 star 71%, 6 star 29%. That is what I expected the split to be. And it's good to see that the norm's happening. Incidentally, if you check Chosen's video out, which I highly suggest you do, you're going to see a similar within range split on his. Also, the artifact rarity, rare 65%, epic 28%, legendary 7%. This is very similar to what you'll find. I will continue updating this document, so as I get a larger and larger sample size, we're gonna get more and more accurate data. I won't do it every time I run a dragon, but if I do like 100 runs, I'll update it with 100 runs at a time type of thing down the road. At artifact drop result, just so you are aware, I ended up selling 78 of the pieces and kept 22 of them. I lost once. One run I lost, and I received one ancient in the 102 total runs that I did. So just so you have an idea of the sample size that I'm using. Incidentally, of the 78 items I sold, I made 2.76 million silver. So if you divide that out, or more, or just easier, you go to Chosen's video. You'll see what the actual works out to the silver per run on the sale, and you'll get a good idea of what it's worth to do dragon runs if you're doing it for silver. The other thing I want to note, and this is where it gets a little more controversial, I'm going to tell you right now, there are several trains of thought on this. In the live stream on Twitch that Chosen, when he was updating his runs, there was a lot of call towards Plarium being a little bit nefarious because, and you can quite clearly see, I found the exact same thing, and for me, Stalwart and Avenging dropped at a disproportionately higher rate than the rest, and I believe Days also for Chosen dropped at a higher rate. At the end of the day, this isn't just a trend. This isn't just an anomaly. This is an actual. It is a trend, not just an anomaly. It is quite clear that they're starting to be out, and the more runs I get, the more it'll normalize, and you'll see it. But I gotta believe Stalwart's dropping at a higher rate, and Avenging, they're probably at the same rate. Now, is this a bad thing? This is the quick argument that everyone had back and forth. I don't want to take too long on it. This is the third time I've tried to record this video, and I ended up talking for half an hour on this, but let's just quickly go over it. The most useful sets out of Dragon are Lifesteal, Speed, and Accuracy. Freeze is arguably also there. There's also limited ability in maybe Avenging and Days and Stalwart, but quite clearly it is a disproportionately, again, higher need to have Speed, Lifesteal, and Accuracy. Speed is needed in every place of the game. You need speed. It is what runs the engine of this game. It is the arguably most important stat no matter what champion you have. There are very few champions that can go without speed. Handful at best. Lifesteal for Clan Boss is near integral unless you have an immortal team. You pretty much need Lifesteal in order to get your runs up there, unless you happen to have the perfect setup of teams. Accuracy as you get into the arena, but you need a base accuracy for all dungeons, and it varies around 200. It just is a normalized number in that 200 range, but as you get to the arena, you'll find that number balloons to 400, and one of the ways to do that is to get the bonus from the accuracy sets, making them incredibly important too. So if those are more important and they're dropping at a lower rate, what the F is going on? Well, let me bring it to you from a different perspective, and I'm going to stop sharing the screen for a quick second, because while that is correct, those three sets are more important, and if they are more important, then why are we not getting more? But I'm going to go from a different perspective. So let's go into mine. I sold a bunch of stuff because we've had so many artifact enhancement events. I needed the silver, and I needed to purge stuff that I was never going to use anyway. But let's go. I have a lot of this, which is a 6-star epic. I have a lot of different 6-star epic. And actually, let's start right here. 6-star epic. So I have this accuracy shield with 2 speed, 1 defense, and 11 accuracy as a bonus. So this is a really good rolled set. This will find its way onto a champion at some time. This is from my recent dragon run that I did 2 days ago. I leveled it up to 12. It's got good numbers. I have to figure out where I'm best going to use it, but there's a good chance. I can't imagine not using this at some point on a champion. It is more useful. However, if I were to sell it, if it was unused, say it had all flat stats, it would sell for 28,800. Okay? As we go to speed set, I have a similar 6-star speed one. Again, I rolled it. This isn't quite as champion roll as the other ones, but I do have a crit rate and accuracy and resist. I could probably use this somewhere. If it becomes not useful for me, I'm going to get 36,000 silver out of it. You will see the same out of Lifesteal. It is also 36,000 silver if I were to sell it. Now let's talk about the Stalwart and Avenging. And I'm not even going to go with Days because they are the ones that everyone was saying. Sorry, I'm going way too far away. They're the ones that say, oh, nobody needs them. They're not as useful. They're not as useful. Why are they dropping a higher rate? Well, let's think of this. If the Days sets are dropping more regularly and are less useful, that means I'm going to sell more of them. If I'm going to sell more of them, that means I'm going to achieve a higher silver value per dropped artifact that I'm going to sell. This one is 6-star. Remember 36 and 28 too, or 28.8, I can't remember. 72,000 out of this one. It is a significantly higher silver rate than the other artifacts that we just talked about. And you'll see the trend is the same. Oops, I don't want to confuse myself. Let's cancel. I'll make a mistake I regret later. I don't have a shield at 6-star, but let's take a look at Avenging. And let's take a look here. 50,000 for a 5-star, right? A 5-star Legendary, 75,000, right? Stalwart set. I got 23 of them on my run. I think I already sold one of the 6-star epics, but we'll take a look at this one. 50,000. A 6-star rare, 54,000. Quite clearly, these are worth more in silver to sell. So if I need to get more of my, say, we'll take speed gear, for example. If I need more of my speed gear to hit level 16, and let's take a look, for example, one of the most decked out, all 6 pieces are speed gear on my Arbiter. I need these to be at 16. They can't be any less than 16. I need her stats to be min-maxed as much as possible. I have got a long way to go. I am at a 164 speed. I need 310 speed is my goal. 315 speed is my goal. So I need these to be 6-star. I need them to be level 16, which means I'm going to need between, $500,000 to 3 million silver per artifact in order to get these to level 16 to get the stats that I need. And if that's the case, then I'm gonna need a lot more silver than I'm gonna need additional speed sets, right? This is a speed set I probably won't change out. Maybe at some point if one drops that has speed on it, I'll switch it out. But this is a pretty good set. It's 60% HP, 6-star Legendary. It also gave me some crit damage and some accuracy. Even if I take it off Arbiter, that's gonna find a home. Because, especially because of its crit damage, I'd love to get it on one of my crit damage dealers long term. In order to get this to level 16, I need that silver. If I'm selling a lot of Stalwart that's worth more silver, I'm going to have more silver. I'm going to be able to do better with my artifacts. So I'm just saying that is an opposite way of looking at it. Getting more of the trash gear, quote unquote, that you're less likely to use and therefore going to sell is going to give you a disproportionately higher silver rate and therefore give you more opportunity to increase the level on the artifacts that you do need to keep. So there are 2 ways of looking at that. I don't know what way Plarium looked at. I don't know if they looked at it, hey, let's give less of the speed so that they can do more speed runs for the speed so we can make more money. That's a reasonable assumption, but it's not necessarily accurate. Because the ones you are selling are worth more. Perhaps that's something they did on purpose, saying, hey, we know they need more speed, so we'll drop more Stalwart gear than speed gear, but we'll make the Stalwart gear worth significantly more so that they're going to find the usefulness even out of the pieces that they sell. You can decide what you want to believe, but I do say that both are accurate and reasonable assumptions. So, without further ado, so you saw the Dragon 20. Now I'm going to show you the other one, which is my Spider Run. Spider Run had some very cool similarities. Here it is. As you can see, a few things to note. First of all, jewelry type is about even. 33.3 banner, 31 ring, and 35 amulet. I imagine the more runs I do, the more that'll normalize to an equal chance of each, which is to be 33.3%. Quality, again, 72.1, 27.9. The 5-star to 6-star is very similar as it was for Dragon. Same with the rarity, 8.5% legendary, 22.5% epic, and 69% rare. Again, these are very similar numbers to the Dragon numbers. If we show the Dragon for a second, I will show one more thing. If you look at, for example, we'll roll down the gloves. Is there a good example? A fairly equal chance for any type. Now, I broke them into flat stat versus other stats, right? So in the bottom three is where that's really going to come into play. Obviously, your helm, your shield, and your weapon all are flat stat, but the bottom three you can have the percentage stats and crit rate, crit damage, and speed. Accuracy and resistance is main stat for a couple of them. So you got some more options depending on the set that drops. So as we look at gloves, you're going to see that I had 5 flat stat. So if we break that out, maybe that's 2, 2, and 1 for the 3 different types. And then you see 3 attack percentage, 1 defensive percentage, 5 crit rate percentage, and 2 crit damage percentage. I feel like if I had enough runs for the sample data to show it, you probably have an equal chance of any one of the main stats to fall. And that's good news because at least you know that there's not a weighted advantage to flat stat, which are less useful, for example. Same thing if you get and look at boots, right? 9 flat stats. So was it 3 of each? Maybe. Who knows? And then I got 2 HP, 3 defense, 2 speed. So there's a very, very... It looks very reasonable that they're all dropping at the same rate. Now, I'm going to hide this one. I'm going to go back to the Spider 20 to show you some other things. Some things I noticed is that factions were not equal. Now, this is strange, and I don't know if it's intentional. My suspicion is that it is accidentally intentional. But what I have found is that certain factions dropped at a significantly higher rate than others. As you can see, Orc was my lowest at 3. I did have several 5, 6, 7, and 9. Then I had several in the teens. Bannerlord, High Elf, Sacred Order in the teens, as well as Knight, Revenant, Dwarf, Dark Elves, and an Undead Horde was the outlier at 20. My theory is when they first created the factions, there were certain factions that started with more champions than the other, and so when they created the drop rates for these, they made those with the higher champion totals higher. Now, as they've added and normalized some of these, those drop rates have not changed. That is my theory. It is only a theory. I don't know for sure. But what I do know for sure is the early trend is that the Barbarian, Ogryn, Lizardman, Skinwalker, Orc, and Demon Spawn are definitely dropping at a disproportionately lower rate than the others. And Undead Horde could be an outlier at 20. That's my thought, but maybe it is disproportionately higher. As I get more data, we will see whether this holds true or whether this is just random. I'm going to do another 100 runs of Spider at some point. As I do 100 runs of Spider, I will update this with the new drop values and see if it's continuing the same trend or whether it normalizes out to an equal chance amongst all of them. The other thing I noticed, which is an important piece, is that when you look at the chance to drop the different main stat totals, they are also, again, virtually identical. I think the more runs I would get, you would see it. But again, for example, we have the Amulet 11, 11, 9, and 12. That's almost near identical between the different drops. You look at the rings 16, 12, 17. You look at the one thing with the banners, oddly enough, attack, hit point, accuracy, and res all had a normalized difference. I do have one outlier. Defense dropped at a disproportionately higher. I feel like that's just me hitting the opposite of a lottery, and I'm just getting more of those, and I think it would normalize over time. I can't say for sure. It's something that we'd have to test with greater and more runs. I feel like I do another 100 runs and it'll start getting into line. But it is good to know that accuracy and resistance are at the same rate as attack and HP. In perfect world, maybe accuracy would be a bit higher. Maybe crit percentage would be a bit higher. But I'm okay with the fact that they all seem to be dropping at a reasonably equal amount. Other than that, I will tell you that I sold 59 and kept 70. I had a lot less jewelry than I have artifacts. So in the jewelry cases, I needed to keep a lot more. Also, I have 3 levels when I sell jewelry on how to choose. So as we look at this is, again, it'll be shared. You can take a look at it yourself if you want to. But that's as far as I'm going to get into that. At the end of the day, it's some good data and good information that I'll continually update. But let's talk about selling artifacts, which is the last thing I'm going to go over. Now, when you go to the champions, as you get more and more artifacts, you're going to have to sell. As you see, I sell a lot of my artifacts. I only have 250 artifacts. I only have 215 of the accessories. I sell a lot, but I also haven't done as many spider runs as I have dragon runs. So, and plus, you get artifacts for more than just dragon. There's 4 keeps you can get artifacts from, and accessories only has the 1. Oh, sorry, 3 versus 1 plus the campaign. So when we talk about accessories, how I determine whether or not to sell something, and I already sold most of the jewelry, as you can tell, but I am looking at 3 different things. Now let's talk about rings to start. And this is directly from Kizzle. Full credit to Kizzle for pointing this out. I watched this video and I agree with it. The primary flat stat on rings, in order for me to keep it, has to also exist as a percentage stat in the substat. So here, attack, it's a keeper. HP, it's a keeper. Although it did roll flat attack, so it might be a seller pretty soon. HP, keeper. HP, keeper. For amulets, I do a slightly different. At some point, maybe that is the way I will determine. But for now, what I've decided is, if it is a crit percentage, I will keep it as long as it also contains accuracy or resist. If it is a flat stat, I will only keep it if it has an accuracy or resist. So on the first pass, this had accuracy. I'm going to keep it. Crit damage, it doesn't have either. I would sell this. I keep it now, but it'll be a second pass sell. So I keep all my crit damage to start, and then I evaluate whether I need it on when I actually come into here and I need to make room, or I need the silver for something else. So right now I'm going to keep it, but say I'm out of silver or I need to upgrade something, this is something I'd probably sell because it doesn't have a useful substat, which I need substats. I need them to be useful. Here's one that I rolled to full 225 attack. There's a point, I don't know if a dwarf needs attack, but if there's a dwarf that's an attack base that I need, it came with, I got resistance and accuracy. So resistance for the arena, accuracy for general purpose. If I get those stats, then I'll keep it. This is a borderline because it only rolled 1. If this rolled 2 accuracy or 2 resistance, if it rolled 2 resistance, I could say, hey, I need it in the arena. If it rolled 2 accuracy, it'll give me a chance to find different substats on my main artifact gear. So that's kind of it's a little more gray area for amulets, but it still holds true that, again, crit damage with accuracy, crit damage with accuracy, crit damage with accuracy. That's how I do it. For the banners, if the main stat is accuracy or resistance, I immediately keep it. I don't sell it right away. If it is a flat stat, HP or defense or attack, I will only keep it if it has a speed substat. If it does not have a speed substat, like this one here, I'm going to sell it. Now, the reason why I kept this one, and it doesn't seem to happen very often for me, but it had an HP percentage substat. So this is a borderline. I'm not going to sell it on a second pass. If I need the silver, I might look back at selling it. Here's an accuracy. I automatically kept it. It also has a speed, so it isn't going anywhere. This one, accuracy, it didn't have a speed. The only reason I'm still keeping this is actually one of my first drops. The only reason I still have it is because it rolled a triple attack. So maybe there's an attack percentage that I need. I'll keep it around. At some point I might sell it because it's less useful. Here, 675. The only reason I kept it, even though it doesn't have speed, is because it has 3%, which is very rare on banners. So even though it doesn't have a speed substat, I'm still keeping it around. This accuracy with speed 100%. So that's my kind of general determining, is I sell immediately the ones that are just 100% useless, and then I go back if I need to sell more, and I start evaluating them. As you get less and less free space, you're going to be more and more picky, obviously. And the next level of things I would do is start looking at your 5-star rares and selling them automatically. This one here, it is resistance, but it doesn't have speed substat, and it's only a 5-star rare, probably a seller. This flat stat, they don't match. So even though it does have a speed, defense, main stat, attack percentage, very rare that's needed on champion, so I'll probably sell it. So I hope that gives you an idea of how to determine how to sell once you've done these speed runs. If this was useful to you, please give it a thumbs up. Consider following me. I will be putting out content at least once a week, hopefully more as my time permits. Finally, if you have any comments, please leave them down below. Let me know, what did you like, what did you not like, what more information can I give to you. And be on the lookout in the coming months for my series of each of the dungeons and evaluating how the drop rates are at the different stages and seeing if there is a trend about higher stages giving higher drop rates. I'd like to leave it with a big thank you and a shout out once again to Chosen and Kizzle for their videos that helped me determine how to make this video. They are amazing content providers, and please, both on Twitch and on YouTube, follow them and see if you like what they're throwing down. Most importantly, I'll leave you with these 2 pieces of advice. Number 1, please do not eat yellow snow, and always keep your stick on the ice. Thank you. I am Mad Capper, and I am signing out.